we've got a feast of rugby this weekend. We have Heineken Cup, the European Challenge Cup as well, but also the second round of the Women's Six Nations. This preview covers the Saturday games from the Women's Six Nations, England versus Italy. That preview will be out on Saturday once the teams are announced. The first game on Saturday is Ireland versus France. It's at 3:15 BST. It's in Musgrave Park in Cork. Let's have a quick look at the teams. So Ireland in the backs to go with Dealey, Doyle, Dalton, Irwin, Bevan, O'Brien, Scuffle, McCabe. Joe the forwards then Joe Gang, Jones, Haney, Friday, Monaghan, Wall, Moore, and Nickerbade. On the bench then they have Nielsen, McGrath, Buggy, O'Connor, Hogan, Cronin, McGann, and Delaney. For France then we have in the backs Bourgois, Banet, Manager, Vernier, Boujard, Arbez, Bourdon, Deshay, in the forwards Deshay, Sochat, Joyeux, Falou, Forlani, Bertomeu, Escudero, and Gross. Then replacements are Rifanu, Lindelof, Kaufaui, Pichu, Hermé, Chambon, Tremolier, and Dupuy. Okay, so this is 9th ranked versus 3rd. Ireland dropped down to 9th after that defeat to Wales. Ireland have made 5 changes from the side that lost to Wales. Christy Haynes is in for Sive McGrath. McGrath is on the bench. Dujang Gang then moves from tight head to a more familiar position at loose head to make room for Haynes in the front row. Grace Moore and Derville Nickerbird come into the back row. Nickerbird was actually the replacement hooker against Wales. Vicky Irwin starts as Enya Breen is out injured. She picked that injury up against Wales. Dana O'Brien is also up from the bench and gets a first Six Nations start. Anna McCann and Lauren Delaney come onto the bench, as do Clara Nelson and Catherine Buggy. Potential debuts for those two if they get on the pitch. For Scotland, not so many changes. Morgane Bourgois comes in for Emily Boulard at fullback, and Clara Joyeux starts the tight head with Kalfau Ui dropping to the bench, and then Rose Bernadou drops out of the 23. Elisa Rifonu comes onto the bench as replacement hooker, and Selene Domain is out of the matchday squad. Okay, so in terms of last week's performance, Ireland lost 31-5 to Wales and they were completely outplayed. France were pushed all the way by Italy but still come up with the win. Ireland had 50% possession but only 40% territory against Wales and find it very hard to make any kind of ground against a pretty impressive Welsh outfit. France did 54% possession and 61% territory against Italy. Their trouble was actually converting their chances. Part of that was the conditions. It was, lots of rain and very slippery, but also really good defense from Italy made it difficult for them. Ireland averaged 1 point per visit to the opposition 22. So, they only scored 5 points and only had 5 visits, which is very poor against Wales. France averaged 1.4 points per visit against Italy. So a little bit up from Ireland, but they also had 3 times as many visits. If they have that many against Ireland, I would expect them, to increase that average. Ireland's scrum then went at 89%. They won 2 scrums on the Welsh feed and also won 2 penalties, but they did give up 3. France went 100% in their scrum. They won 2 of Italy's scrum and forced 6 scrum penalties. So this is going to be a real examination of that Irish scrum. Wales stole 2 of Ireland's lineouts, and Italy also stole 2 of France's. So that might be an area, where Ireland could get some joy if they can make some improvements on their side and put pressure on the French throw. In terms of individuals then, Aoife Doyle and Enya Breen were the top carriers for Ireland with 61 and 58 metres respectively. As I said, Breen is out this week, so she's going to be a big miss for them. Bouchard and Bernier were the top carriers for France, 83 and 71 metres for them. Niamh Jones was the top tackler for Ireland with 16. Next was Linda Dugang with 11. Jones actually went at 100% there as well. So she was, in a losing effort, a decent shift from her, but they're going to need everyone to lift their game this weekend. For France then, they lots of tackles, and Gross and Escudero made 15 each, Fallu and Sochat with 14 each. And also Carla Arbez kicked 232 metres, which, if not the highest, was certainly one of the highest from any of the games over last weekend. Ireland, they really need to produce a performance. They're, this Six Nations for them with a new coach, it is about development, but they still need to show progress. They've gotten a lot of criticism, from last week's display, and I don't think that, Williams is going to get that much of a honeymoon period really in charge. So, people will be looking for a decent performance in this one. For France, they'll look for an easier ride than they got last week. Kind of expecting them to try and make a fast start and build a score, and then just keep Ireland at arm's length for the rest of the game. On to the next game then, it's Scotland versus Wales. So this is at 5:30 BST at the Dam Health Stadium in Edinburgh. That's where Edinburgh Rugby play. This is 10th versus 8th in the world. So Scotland remain in 10th after that heavy loss against England. Wales leapfrog Ireland after beating them last weekend. Let's have a quick look at the teams. So Scotland have in the backs Rowley, Grant, Orr, Smith, McGee, Nelson and Matheson. Then in the forwards they have Bartlett, Skeldon, Belsey, O'Donnell, Macmillan, Malcolm, McLaughlin and Gallagher. And then on the bench they have Retty, Young, Clark, Donaldson, Sinclair, MacDonald, Blacklock and Musgrove. For Wales, they have in the backs Keith, Newman, Jones, Lake, Williams, Morris, Snowsill, Bevan, and in the forwards they have Pearce, Jones, Tuipulotu, Fleming, Evans, Lewis, Callender and Harris. On the bench are Phillips, Hope, Hale, John, Williams, Lewis, George and Bluck. Okay, so Scotland are actually completely unchanged from the round 1 game against England. So that same entire team and squad get to go again. For Wales, not that many personnel changes, but some positional changes. So Gwen Crabb is out injured. So Georgina Evans moves from 6 into the second row to cover that spot. That means then that Bethan Lewis is moving from 8 to 6, and then Sinead Harris is coming up from the bench to 8. Then Karis Phillips and Natalia John come back from injury onto the bench. Cara Hope replaces Carol Thomas on the bench as well. So overall, 2 pretty settled sides. In terms of last weekend, though, their results were very contrasting. Scotland with that heavy 58-7 loss to England. Wales winning 31-5 against Ireland and were pretty dominant in that game. Scotland had 44% possession and 48% territory against England. Wales had 50% possession and 60% territory against Ireland. And, they really made that tell in the end. Scotland with 0.9 points scored per visit to the 22 find it very tough to make any kind of chances and then convert them against England, whereas Wales were at 2.4 points per visit to 22 against Ireland. So, pretty good scoring rate for them. For Scotland, then the scrum went at 83%. That's respectable against what is a very strong England pack. Wales' scrum was down at 75% against Ireland, so that's probably an area where Scotland will look to get some joy. Scotland's lineout was also at 83%, but Wales got a lot of lineout practice. They won 17 lineouts, Ireland's 8 last weekend. Kicking from the tee, then Scotland were at 100%, but it was just a one conversion attempt. Wales down at 60%, but with 5 times as many attempts as Scotland. Both teams then, in terms of penalties, Scotland conceded 10 against England, which is not that bad given how dominant England were. Wales conceding 14 against Ireland, but Ireland couldn't take advantage of that. I think the Scotland team maybe at home and with a settled team might be able to, if Wales are as ill-disciplined this time, might be able to do a bit better than Ireland did. In terms of individuals then, what a shift from Chloe Rowley, 156 metres with ball in hand. She put in 8 tackles and got herself a try as well. The next best in terms of run meters was Emma Orr with 58. Over on Wales, so they kind of spread the running, the carrying out a bit more across the team. They had 5 players with 50 plus meters. Lisa Newman was top with 65. In terms of tacklers then, Rachel McLaughlin with 19 tackles for Scotland, and then O'Donnell and Gallagher with 17 each. Georgina Evans was Wales' top tackler with 17. And then just a note on Sinead Harris, what an impressive shift she put in from the bench. She came on early for Gwen Crabb, probably wasn't expecting to come in until sometime the second half, but she come on in like the 7th or 8th minute of the game. She got 48 meters carried, 12 tackles, and got herself a try as well. So really had a great impact coming on there, and really worthy of her start this week. Scotland, they haven't won in 10 games. They're at home, so they do have a chance, but this is a very decent Welsh side that is coming to visit them. Wales, they're looking to build on that impressive start in round 1 and looking for a second win to make it 2 from 2.